Hello, welcome to the Polygon Forest. I am Chris Jarvis. I do indie games on the side, and joined with me as ever is Ubisoft concept artist Vin Hill.
Hey guys.
Let's do this. Right, so today is a bit of a different format because we're going to do our E3 predictions episode. And I will just run through the format for this episode because there is nothing worse than people just rambling on with no structure when it comes to E3 predictions. I've watched so many videos.
There's a good history of that. Good history of that.
The amount of videos I've watched in preparation for this video, and I've gone, right, we need... And you were the person that turned me on to structure in this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You have experience. So this is going to be the structure for our episode. I'm going to talk about my Ubisoft predictions for E3. Vin is going to sit patiently and not make a sound to indicate whether he has any input or knowledge.
Sure, or I could just leak everything. Oh, I'll see how I feel though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to leak things, you know...
I mean, bring in the views, at least, you know, that's the good side of it.
And you're probably the only person at this point who hasn't leaked anything at Ubisoft. But...
This is true. Yeah, I need to get my credit in to sort of say I am one of the boys, as it were.
Get your badge at work. I need my stamp. Yeah.
Right. The leaker stamp.
So we're going to do Ubisoft predictions, and then I'm going to do my PlayStation predictions. I've gone through just a few of the ones that I find most interesting. I'm not going to talk about everything, and then Vin's going to discuss one, maybe two, or none if he's just bored. Then Vin's going to go through his PlayStation predictions, and then I'm going to choose one, or maybe two, or none if I can't be bothered, and we'll have a little discussion about that.
Yeah.
So once we've done
a bit back and forth.
A bit of back and forth, a bit of banter, a bit of podcast content.
Yeah.
So once we've done that for PlayStation, we'll do Xbox, and then we'll do cross-platform predictions, so the big developers. And then we're going to do Nintendo predictions, and then we're going to move on to wildcards, so what we'd really love to see but don't think is going to happen, so that if any of that does happen, we can get major bragging rights.
Hell yeah, we can.
And that is the format for today's episode. How do you find that, Vin? Is that agreeable?
Yeah, I'm good with this. I mean, I've done plenty of podcasts in the past anyway.
Seasoned
podcaster who can't talk properly. I've found. Now I've been through this before where we've done prediction shows where it turns into a massive list and it just drags on and on and on. While interesting to like the people speaking at the time isn't great listening material I found, so it's good to keep it clear and concise. So I like this format of just listing off all the things that we think's going to be there and then just nitpicking the interesting things out. So yeah, I'm totally cool with that. And for full disclosure, like we don't know what each of us picked either, which is the good side of this as well. So I don't know what Chris has got on his list. He doesn't know what I've got on mine, and it could be boring as hell. Could be totally predictable. Could be like,
it could be exactly the same. Yeah.
Right. Who knows? Probably. I'm sure we'll line up on a few things. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely see.
Okay. So let's crack on. These are my Ubisoft predictions. So what's going to be talked about? And I'm just going to look directly at your face. I'm just nervous.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't want to give anything away.
So viewers and listeners, well, listeners can't really pay attention to Vin's face, but people that are watching on YouTube, look at the micro twitches on Vin's face as I talk about these predictions that I have for Ubisoft.
To be fair, I have got a good poker face. So,
that's true.
And I'm going to give stuff away, which is going to be like, you're going to say something completely outrageous that isn't real whatsoever, and I'm going to be like, oh, he knows about that, and then I'm just going to throw red herrings everywhere. So it's going to be interesting either way.
Let's hope so. Well, I'll just list them off then, and then we can talk about it. So at the Ubisoft conference in E3, I think we're going to have a Far Cry 6 gameplay trailer.
Oh,
it's already been It's already been announced, and we've already had a teaser trailer. So that's not really fair.
Yeah, that's
fair. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time remake. I think we're going to have a gameplay trailer of that. Mm-hmm. That is one of my all-time favorite games. The original. So the fact that that's being worked on now, I'm just super buzzed about.
Yeah, that was I think that was Ubisoft's first game of the year. I think it was like that was the first one they ever won.
Wow.
So the Sans Time on the PS2, good times.
That's a great game.
An amazing game.
I think we're going to get only the title, so the name of the new Star Wars game that Ubisoft have said they're in development of. So we haven't had a name, and I think that's all we're going to get. And then the last list on for Ubisoft predictions is I think we're going to get Beyond Good and Evil 2 gameplay trailer, and I think it's going to be released holiday 2021.
That was a mild list. I was expecting a lot worse.
Well, we haven't come around to my wildcards yet.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So stay tuned, listeners. So
you didn't even mention the game I was working on. How rude of you, Chris.
Oh no, don't say that.
It's okay.
I
know where our fan base is. Like I'm working on, like, full disclosure, I'm working on a Rainbow Six Quarantine at the moment. Already been announced. Don't know if it's going to be E3 and stuff. This is the interesting thing. Like, even though we're joking about it, we're doing a bit of back and forth about it. I actually don't know a lot of what's going to be in the conference. Like, we're in the lower levels sort of thing. So that's all very high up sort of thing. So what is exactly going to be there and how much is going to be shown? I know a lot of internal stuff, obviously, what's going to be seen.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, the full list. I haven't seen the conference beforehand or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would predict then we're going to see a gameplay trailer. We'll just say that.
It's a bit late now, isn't it?
and release holiday 2021 as well. Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice timeline. Oh, it would be, I guess.
Too much information, Ben. I
said it would be.
I can hear the lawyers like coming to the door.
Nah, they can't do anything. I'm good.
Right, so now we'll move on to my PlayStation predictions.
Well, when it comes to your Ubisoft stuff, like which one is the most, like, the biggest for you personally? Like, what do you want to see, like, out of all of that?
I'm intrigued about Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Right. Just to see how it turns out.
I really love Far Cry, and I love that aesthetic that was in the trailer. I love Star Wars. It's so hard. And then what I saw of Beyond Good and Evil 2 with the something.
It's been a while since we've seen that game. Yeah, it's been a while.
Floating around like a big airship. Do you know what?
Right.
I can't. Do you know what? I can't. Nope. Yeah. You can't get one out of me. That's just. I love them all.
The one game which I'm looking forward to from Ubisoft, which I don't know anything about, I haven't seen, I knew it existed, but it's now been announced, which is the Division Heartlands. Like, I'm really curious to see what they do with that game. I'm a huge Division fan as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. But take that with a massive pinch of salt, because I work there and I'm a shill. There you go.
And that's probably going to be free to. I think it's going to be like a free to play thing.
I think that was announced. Yeah, it is a free to play game.
And there'll be microtransactions for purple skins, probably.
Sure, but I won't buy them. I'll just run around and shoot things. I'm good.
Yeah. So yes, those. So yeah, you can't pin me down. I'm equally hyped for all of those things in equal measure, which is very, very odd. Usually,
it's got a healthy future ahead of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Moment, so.
Like,
that's good.
It's one of the developers which I'm like, oh man, it's going to do some good stuff.
Yeah, it should be.
So yeah, really excited for that. PlayStation predictions. So these are my PlayStation predictions. Top of the list, the new God of War Ragnarok. I think we're going to get a cinematic trailer for that. I don't think
no gameplay.
No gameplay. Okay. Just cinematic. Horizon Forbidden West. I think we're going to have a gameplay trailer, because we've already had like a release teaser trailer. So I think we're going to have some gameplay. I predict there will be, newsflash, a new unknown IP that I haven't seen yet that I'll be excited for. That's a bit... it's a bit
vague.
It's a bit vague.
No, but I think that's a given. Considering it's Sony, like they'll definitely... they'll probably more than one. I think they'll have like 3 at least.
But I think there'll be one that I will be like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Sort of thing. So yeah, that will be the birth of a new massive, triple 3 or 4 games down the road, and we'll be talking about it in 20 years' time, sort of thing.
That's a good thing to hope for.
I don't think there's going to be any Spider-Man announcement, just because it's been too soon since the Miles Morales. Although they're probably working on a new Spider-Man, but I just don't think it's going to appear for at least a couple of years.
I agree.
I think that Sony are going to show their VR2, their new headset that they'll be working on, because they've already been shown some of the haptic feedback controllers, so that's already been shown, and I think we're going to see some Astro's Playroom VR equivalent gameplay. So I think we're going to see something with Astro doing VR with the new VR2, which hasn't been announced yet. So I think that's going to be a new thing. It'd be a bit of a surprise to some people.
Yeah.
What do you think of those, Finn?
It's a good list, to be fair. It's a good chance that all of that will be there. I think the VR2 thing was something I actually totally forgot about. So I think that would be an interesting proposition. See, I'm not sure if they actually will show it at E3 because they normally show that stuff at like CES or whatever, right? Like they normally like at the German convention show.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not officially at E3. They're going to be doing their own press conference.
It's a good point. It's new ground
around the same sort of time because they haven't announced that they'll be at E3. So this is like E3/Sony at the same sort of time, jumping on their own bandwagon announcement.
That is fair. I mean, all right. Well, what would you think about if, PSVR 2 is announced? Because they've already announced the controllers. They've already shown them. They've said that they're working on the new headset, but they haven't shown it yet. So if they came out with a new headset, it's like, here it is. This is what it looks like. This is how much it's going to be. It comes with Half-Life Alyx included. That would be a sell.
Yeah.
And I think Valve would be on board with that as well because that's a lot of money.
If they had something, if it was 120 hertz as well, just out of the box,
it has to compete with Oculus Quest 2 at least. It just has to. It would be interesting to see if they can make it wireless. That would be the next big step. And it'd be really interesting
what the screen sizes are as well. If that beats Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah, lots of competition. So it's that'd be an interesting one. But I think like the biggest game, which I'm looking forward to, like if I had to choose a baby between the two that you mentioned, which is Horizon and God of War, it would probably have to be Horizon, I guess. Like if you were to really hold a gun to my head about it, then it would probably be Forbidden West. And I think you're right. I think it's going to get a huge gameplay reveal. I think it's gonna be a big talk of the show this year.
I think there's going to be some of the biggest buzz. I think if there was a poll, I think that it would be a close tie between the two. And I think that, the most hyped will be Horizon Forbidden West for sure.
Yeah. I mean, when do you think that game is coming out?
I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it might be next year.
Well, what do you think they're going to have for their big sort of holiday push this year? Like, is there anything else that they would have?
That's a good point.
Because if they haven't got anything this year, then I would say that it has to be Horizon Forbidden West. It just has to be because there's nothing else really. I don't think there might be because they've got Ratchet and Clank coming out next month, and then there's really nothing else until. Maybe we're just completely blank and there's actually a really huge game that we've just totally forgotten about.
That we've just forgotten about, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Forbidden West is it. I think that's the one that they really want to push.
Yeah, of all the big IPs, it's got to be one of those two, isn't it? That's a good point.
It's a good Christmas push. I mean, I would say that it's out this year. I would say that's like a November game. November 3rd. There you go. That's my day.
Okay, November 3rd.
November 3rd.
We got that on digital film, so yeah, we can come back to that.
Digital film. No, I like that. It's good. I mean, not bad predictions. I think they're pretty safe bets.
Yeah, I'm not very creative when it comes to what other people are going to be doing.
No, that works.
So what is your list like?
Might be a bit more ambitious, but I always do go ambitious on purpose because I know it's going to be nothing like this and everyone's going to get excited about absolutely nothing. Then we get an average convention.
An average show, yeah.
Right, and then everyone's upset and annoyed by me. So that's how it goes. So my first big prediction is PlayStation Now is rebranded to something like Play Pass or something along them lines.
Right.
And then that becomes the new Game Pass for PlayStation. I think that's the big push. But the interesting thing about this is not the fact that it's going to be like Game Pass just on the console side. It's going to be the same for the PC side as well. So their initiative where they're pushing a lot of Steam games at the moment, it's going to be included within this sort of thing. So they'll be able to cross between PC space and console space as well. So they're going to be trying to tap into the Microsoft market of cross platforms.
That is a hell of a prediction, Vin.
It's a big one, but it's kind of like they kind of have to at this point. It's not really a thing that they need to do because it would be nice. It's more of a necessity because Game Pass is coming for them, and I think they can feel Microsoft like breathing down the back of their neck at this point. So it'll be silly if they didn't do something like this. But yeah, I mean, that included with the difference is that the advantage which PlayStation has over Xbox right now, if they did come out with their own Game Pass or Play Pass or whatever you want to call it, is that they already have a streaming network already set up with PlayStation Now. So all of that's already set up. Has some downloads already. So they've already got that system set up. It just needs a decent rebrand and some deals cut basically, and that'll be about it. But I think that'll be.
And do you think that'll be this year?
Yes, it has to be. I think before this holiday. But they also have the PlayStation VR stuff, so they bundle that in with their new Play Pass, whatever you want to call it. It's a big initiative.
That's big because that would open up a lot of games to PlayStation consumers. Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, I shouldn't have dragged that out so much. But anyway, the next thing was 60 FPS upgrades for all of their first-party titles. That'll get announced for E3. That includes The Last Guardian, all of Bloodborne, all the ones that they haven't touched yet because they need to compete with Frame Boost. The next big thing from PlayStation as well after that would be the answer to Frame Boost, which is Res Boost. It's going to be PlayStation's next thing. So they're going to DLSS like all of their games up to 4K, like all of their PS4 games. All of them. All their first-party titles. I know. I'm going crazy. This is crazy. This is the wild stuff. Forbidden West will be their big holiday game with a huge blowout, like you just said. I think this is going to be like the end of the year. I think this is going to be that big Christmas push. Like, you buy a PS5 and you get Forbidden West with it as a bundle. Buy it now, sort of thing. You can play Forbidden West and Ratchet and Clank and have an awesome time with your new PS5. That'd be great. Next thing, God of War gameplay. I think they're going to show gameplay. I don't think it's just going to be CG. I think it would be a huge disappointment because we only got like a CG little logo teaser, and people want to see Kratos like screwing up some stuff. So yeah, I totally want to see him throwing axes around.
Is the boy going to be playable? Do you think?
Yes, I think. Like even bigger prediction: Kratos will die by the end of this game.
Yeah. I can see that happening. Yep.
And then the boy takes over and he's like the playable character in the third game. Or maybe he dies halfway through and everyone will be like,
this is just like The Last of Us.
Right. It depends how they do it. But
he'll get ill in a shed and then the boy will have to go off and get some medicine and come back.
That'd be really sad.
The Last of Us 1.
That would be really, really depressing. Big game announcement from the PlayStation camp. Persona 6 gets announced. At E3.
Persona 6. I'm not familiar with Persona.
Persona is a huge. It's probably one of the biggest JRPGs right now, I would say. So, like, if you don't know, then you don't know, sort of thing. But if you're in the Persona camp, then this would be a huge deal. As big as like a Final Fantasy 16 announcement, which they had last time. Speaking of which, I think they will show some more game. I think they'll show some gameplay of Final Fantasy 16, but also they will announce Final Fantasy 7 2. Still years away. But I think the sequel to the Final Fantasy 7 remake is on the way, and I think that's going to be in the show as well. They're my PlayStation.
I forgot about Final Fantasy. Yes, I think that the PlayStation. I think that they're going to come up with some sort of answer to Xbox's Game Pass.
Yeah.
For what you've said, though, I'll be very surprised if all that happens. It's a bit ambitious. I'll be very happy because it means great stuff for the consumers. I just can't see PlayStation wanting to do that, spending that much money on making things that people have already paid for better.
Yeah, I think because they've got a lot of these systems in place already. It's just about bringing them together and housing them in a new branding. So like their PC initiative, which they're pushing with Days Gone, Horizon's on the PC now, Death Stranding as well. So they've got all these games, they've got all these IP coming. They've probably got a lot more in the pipe. The fact that they're already doing this and they need to answer to Game Pass in some way. Like, hey, if you sign up to Game Pass, like link your Steam account, you get access to all these games as well. It wouldn't be that difficult technically. It's just a matter of, crossing that path and actually doing it, because it gives incentive to PC gamers to like want to buy a PlayStation as well, which is a good thing. So it works both ways, but we'll see, man. Like I hope we get an answer to Game Pass if that's through the
exciting.
means.
It's exciting
It's very
to hear. Like, it's exciting when I was saying my predictions, but it's really exciting listening to yours and then just going, oh, but what if? Oh, but what if that does happen? I like this. This is fun.
Yeah.
Should we move on to Xbox predictions?
Sure. Yeah, I'm good with that.
So my Xbox predictions. This has changed throughout the week because there was the announcement that from Bloomberg reporting that, oh yeah, Starfield definitely is 2022. It's definitely not going to be 2021, and I kind of believe it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So I mean, I was saying 2022 for a while. I thought it was going to be February, but I actually think that's going to be their holiday game now. I think that's going to be the November 2022 game to really push the Xbox Series X towards the end of next year, which makes sense because they've probably got Halo coming this year. But please continue.
Yes, exactly. So I think we're going to have a teaser trailer, like a proper teaser, not just a satellite is floating in space. Released holiday 2022. I think that as well. I think that Forza Motorsport reboot, I think we're going to get blown away in terms of the visuals from that. I think that's going to be pushing the boundaries of what the Xbox is it X is the best one? Yeah.
Series X, yeah.
Series X. What that can do, and it's going to be like crazy visuals and ray tracing all over the shop, and everyone's just going to get blinded by how realistic these cars look going around the tracks. With the
racing games usually have like the best showcases, like in terms of presentation, like just how they look, because they've sort of figured out the engines for that sort of system, and like getting real-time reflections on the cars and the poly counts and all that sort of stuff. Like it really shines in racing games for some reason. I'm not really quite sure, but it's always been the case. But, that's a good prediction.
So I think people are going to go away remembering those as one of the big takeaways. And then I think we're going to get this is quite a big, crazy prediction for some people. I think we're going to get good, better Halo gameplay trailer. I think it's going to look good. We're going to get some, I think that's what I predict. So it's not going to be claymation. They're going to be really focusing specifically on the brute's facial expressions, and we're going to have some really dynamic facial expressions. Like there's going to be like a hammer or something going into their face, and then the face is going to distort, and it's going to basically like shatter everyone's
saliva coming out and stuff.
Yeah, and it's going to go over Master Chief's helmet and have to wipe it off. It's going to be so visceral and
I think you're beautiful. Right, and I think the reason why you're right is because it sort of has to at this point. Like I think Xbox are just like, we need this to be good, because it's probably their only game coming out at the end of this year, so they need to. Yeah, they need a hit basically. But
I think that's going to be the holiday this year. And those are my only Xbox predictions that's worth talking about, in my opinion. I think they're going to be the big ones.
Yeah.
But unless I've missed stuff off, and you could talk about stuff that I've missed, I'm going, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's good. Well, what about I mean, when was the last time you played Halo? Like, are you a Halo fan? Would you consider yourself a fan? Are you excited about Halo Infinite? Or
I am a Halo fan, and I'm excited. I'm apprehensive though that I'm going to love it as much as I loved 1, 2, and 3. And ODST I did play, and it was good. It was fine. I was happy about it. It got my Halo fix.
Yeah.
But I'm a play once and done kind of guy. I played a bit more Halo 2, and I played online in Halo 3 for a bit, but I wasn't really big into it. But seeing Halo 1 being played in the game shop in Milton Keynes, and I was walking around and there was grass moving about, and I was killing grunts, that made me buy an Xbox just watching that. So I've been in love with Halo since I've seen it. So
that's fair. Yeah,
I bought a console for it. I'm really apprehensive based off the last gameplay that it's just going to be a mediocre, lukewarm Halo that's got a grappling hook.
Right.
I really don't want that to be the case. I really hope that the story, because that was some really Halo 1's some of the most amazing game narrative that's shown through gameplay ever in Halo 1. It's like
I agree.
I think
it's probably the first console shooter for one. Like it was the first one to really figure out how to get a first person shooter feeling good.
Yeah.
On a controller, but also just the storytelling in that game.
Yeah.
Like probably hasn't aged like completely like the best either. Like I played Halo 1, 2, 4. Like I played Reach and ODST as well recently, and I was actually kind of like surprised about Halo 4 because it's actually a lot better than I remember. It feels way better than 3 anyway, like in terms of like actual gameplay and how you're fighting and stuff, and the weapons and how you move and all this sort of stuff. I was actually, I kind of feel bad for how much crap I gave that game in the past. So I was like, yeah, it's nowhere near as good as Halo 3 and stuff, and it's actually not that bad. Like it's actually a decent game.
Yeah.
It aged a lot better than the others.
I think we're just getting older, and like the shine is it's just losing that shine from when we first sort of started playing it, maybe.
I think so.
Or I'm much more critical as I'm older, and the bar is so much higher. Could be a combination of all those things. So
I would say you should replay Halo 4 just by itself and just see like if your sort of thoughts on that game compared to Halo, because I haven't played Halo 5. I heard that got absolutely trashed and like a lot of people hated it.
Yeah.
But Halo 4, like specifically, even though it wasn't made by Bungie, it's actually not a bad game. Like I really feel bad about that game. But yeah, like in terms of Halo Infinite, I totally agree. I think it's probably gonna have a really good presentation, and mostly because it needs to, not really because they have to prove themselves, not only themselves, but Microsoft will be breathing down their neck as well, because it's sort of the linchpin like for the entire console. You know,
it's going to be one of the it could be the game that sells consoles, and how good or bad that game is could be direct, like how good that is reviewed could directly impact how many they end up selling for the whole generation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are sort of gloom and doom about it, and they say, like, if Halo Infinite fails and the Xbox Series X fails, I don't agree with that. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Like, even if the game got a 7 out of 10...
The Game Pass is already enough to get some
Game Pass
consoles.
is the system seller for Xbox right now, and I think people need to take a step back and realize that, like, Halo isn't the end-all, be-all.
No.
I'm looking forward to Infinite. I think it's probably going to be fine. It's probably going to play well. I think it's going to have enough different in it. They've had a long time to work on it, and there's a lot of talent over there. So I can only expect good things, and I hope it's going to be great.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm just apprehensive. I'm just like, please do a good job.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right.
So yeah, those are my Xbox predictions. We're not really sticking to the format, are we, Vin?
No, not really. But we're keeping it.
At least we tried.
Concise.
We tried. Yeah,
it's concise.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's all good. But yeah, for me, Xbox list wise, so we've got Xbox Live Gold dies. That's my first bullet point. They kill it. It's gone.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're going to kill Xbox Live Gold, and they're just going to make it Xbox Game Pass. And if you subscribe to Game Pass for the same price as what you do for Gold, then you opt in for all of the games, and you get what was the Live system, which is the online multiplayer. All of that's included. So you can look at it one way or the other. You can say, okay, the Gold is absorbing Game Pass, or Game Pass is absorbing Gold. But either way, people are going to be paying $10 a month or whatever it is to get Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass, and they're just going to combine into each other. There's no point of having these two systems separate anymore, and I think they're going to combine them. That's my first big prediction. More third parties come to Game Pass. I think that's a given. Like, they're just going to announce, like, offload like a load of them at once, because it's always good press. I had no idea, like, from a studio level or something, but if they did get something from, like, Ubisoft, like if they just said, okay, all Ubisoft games are coming to Game Pass, or all Square Enix games are coming to Game Pass for whatever reason, like they have done with EA Play, that'd be awesome. But I think, like, I've got no idea. That's like a way high up sort of company decision, but I would love to see, like, Ubisoft games on Game Pass system. That'd be awesome. Next one is Halo Infinite Blowout. Same as you. I think that's going to be their big push for this year, because it sort of has to be. Like, they're trying to sell their consoles. So yeah, I think, like you, I think it's going to look pretty. I think it's going to look great. People are going to get excited about it, especially the Halo fans, which is the best thing that you can hope for. I think there's going to be no Elden Ring. It's not getting shown. And Xbox have the marketing rights to Elden Ring, I think. So they announced that game at an Xbox conference. I don't think it's going to be shown this year. I think that game's probably in trouble somewhere, and they're not showing it for a good reason. Yeah. And they just want to take a step back and work on it and get it looking good and feeling good. And I think they're going to go away for a while until they figure that out.
This week, yeah, I'd removed it from my list this week, because I've heard some things or read some things, and it was on my list to say that they're going to announce it. But I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that. Next one is Starfield Blowout 2022. Like you mentioned, I think it's going to be that big holiday game. After that, I think the big sort of announcement that's going to be at the Xbox conference is remasters for the Witcher series. So Witcher 1, 2, and 3 are all going to get remasters. That'll be a good one. Will it? Yeah, will it? And then the last prediction is that Gen Design, which is formerly Team Eco, the people that work on The Last Guardian, Shadow of the Colossus, and Eco, obviously. I think they're going to announce a new game at the Xbox conference, which is going to be a big get because they are now published by Unreal, which I think they're still a bit pally with Microsoft over Apple for obvious reasons of late. So I think that would be a good get for them. But yeah.
So do you think that's going to be an exclusive to Xbox then?
No, I think it's going to be PC. I think it's going to be announced. Yeah, I think they're going to get marketing rights to announce it, which happens a lot, like Elden Ring. So Elden Ring will not announce or have any market material like exclusively on the PlayStation platform because you can buy like marketing rights to announce it at your show or whatever. So it'll be, I think it's just going to get shown at the Microsoft, but it's going to be multi-platform. They're my predictions.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's some good predictions. I would love a new IP from the people that did Colossus and
Last Guardian.
The Last Guardian. I think that'll be awesome. It's about time, isn't it? They've been working on something for a few years now.
Yeah, Last Guardian was 2016 it came out. So it's been 5 years now. So it's time.
Yeah. And do you reckon I would go one further and I'd say they might do some up-res versions of their old games on the new consoles?
I don't think, because I think PlayStation own the other 3 games, and they've already remade the Shadow of the Colossus. Obviously, that came out by Bluepoint a couple of years ago, which is phenomenal. Like everyone should play that game; it's amazing. But I would love, I would trade in my Xbox tomorrow if I could get an Eco remake or a remaster. Please, I would seriously. So yeah, I would take that, please. Yeah.
Wow, that's saying something.
That is saying, well, it's my favorite game of all time.
It's your favorite game.
Yeah, I can't not say that.
And it wouldn't be this podcast if you didn't say that at least once.
Right. Yeah. Well, you got to mention Eco. You just got to.
Yeah, you got to. I don't really have much to say about those ones. That sounds all pretty good to me. Good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like the more again, just like every time I hear your stuff, I'm just like, I can't wait for next month. And we see it.
Saying that, I think next this E3 is probably going to be one of the best we've seen in a while because there was a lot of people holding back last year because they needed to wait for the new consoles.
Yeah.
And I think like the year before that, they were holding back even more. So I think now is the time, like, here are all our cards. Like, we're trying to show you, we're trying to sell these boxes, we're trying to sell you Game Pass. Now is the time.
And we're going to see there'll be some teams that are really good at keeping secrets and announcing stuff. And I can't wait for that. So
indeed. Yeah.
I can't wait to be surprised by stuff that I hadn't even thought of.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that.
Cool.
So my cross-platform predictions, so stuff that's not specific, I've only got 2 sort of things to say really that I think is worth talking about from the games I'm looking forward to. Or
right, yeah. This is all objective. Subjective. Sorry, not objective. But this is all like our own opinions. Obviously, we're not advocating like these games are the only ones that are important, and these are the only ones that you should care about. Like obviously, everyone's got their own thing, but go for it.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be people, hopefully, the people in the comments that say, "Why do you talk about this?" And it's like that's fair enough. We should talk about that, but we've only got X amount of time that we're going to hold everyone's interest. So, because it's a slog. E3 is a slog, and it's it's a marathon. So there's a lot of content, and we got to pick and choose some stuff. We can't talk about everything.
This is true
because that would be super boring for everyone.
Speaking of dragging on, go for it.
Speaking of dragging on, let's go on to my cross-platform predictions, which is Battlefield 6 is going to be revealed. Yep. It's going to be set in World War II, which we kind of already know. But I predict that there'll be at least a massive Dunkirk mission. Kind of off the back of Chris Nolan's film Dunkirk, I think there's an appetite for Americans now to explore that part because
I don't think they're going to do World War II. Yeah.
Do you know? I thought it was already been
No,
announced.
I think they've. I don't think they've announced it either way, but I think it's going to be near future. Because the last one was World War II, and there's no reason for them to go back to that. So, like Battlefield 5 was World War II. But what you just said, I would love a Dunkirk level. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Like how to retreat properly.
Yeah, exactly.
In your fishing boat.
Yeah. How to organize the biggest flotilla of non-combatant.
We're not selling this game very well, that's for sure.
Yeah. That sounds good in our brains, but yeah, it doesn't sound good. But I just think that since the film Dunkirk, there's an appetite for Americans to explore that part of the war before they were part of the war.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, that's what I predict. And then, as I said before, there'll be like one new IP that I'm just like fall in love with them. Like, oh my God, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my whole life. But I only think it's going to be one from like cross-platform, and I think one from PlayStation. And that's it. Everything else, I'll be like, yeah, it looks good. Yeah. But I think it'll be like, I think I'm going to fall in love twice next month.
Sounds good.
And that's it for cross-platform prediction. So not too much to discuss there, really, because especially the one that's like, I think there's been one new IP that I fall in love with. What do you think about that, Vin?
I don't know. It depends on the IP, Chris.
But I was thinking,
there's going to be a lot of new IP next month, though. I think that's the sense that you're going for, really. I guess, which is every company is probably going to have at least one new IP. I would hope, at least. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good thing, though. That's great. That's good that we don't know, because we're going to see stuff and be like, holy crap, that looks amazing. What the hell is that? So yeah.
And I was really, really trying to pin it down more. I was like, will it be something cowboyish? Because it's been a few years since we've had anything big that's cowboyish. And then I was thinking, will it be something that's like wizardy? There's been some wizardy games out. Will it be something like pirates? And I was like, do you know what? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, it's hard. Everything's covered these days. Everything's
covered, and it hasn't been too long since anything's been released. So it could be anything, and I wouldn't be surprised. So whatever genre gets released, it's not going to be surprising, but it'll be the content which I'm hoping will surprise me, like the gameplay or the story or the visual style or something else. But like what the actual theme is, at this stage, I don't think I'm going to be surprised. So it'd be great if I am surprised. Will they think of this whole new theme? Who knows? So yeah, that's it for me for cross-platform.
It's not bad, man. Yeah, I think for me, like cross-platform wise, I think you mentioned it earlier, but Star Wars. I think every company is going to have a Star Wars announcement, regardless of how early, how late. Doesn't matter,
because there's no contract anymore. Yep. Yes, so the flood doors are open for Star Wars games.
Yeah, and I think we sort of saw this with when Jedi Fallen Order was announced. That game was announced without a trailer, without a logo, nothing. Like, they just went up to the creative director in the crowd during E3 and said, hey, we heard you got some news. And he was like, yeah, we're announcing a Star Wars game and it's called Jedi Fallen Order. And everyone was like, this is awkward. But they just needed to get it out there because it's good for like stockholders and all that sort of stuff, and just knowing that a Star Wars game's coming, because they sell gangbusters every single time, regardless of how the quality is of the games. Like, they always sell well, because Star Wars, like it's huge.
All they need is the Star Wars sound effects, and some people will enjoy the game, and that's totally fair.
Start scrolling text, man. Like yellow scrolling text. That's all you need, and done, and it's fixed. So I think we're going to see a load of those. That's going to be the sort of biggest takeaway, is like Disney sort of invading the games industry, and I think that's going to be a good sign of it.
So will we get Star Wars fatigue? Will it be saturated, do you think? Do you think we'll be like...
I was there about 5 years ago, man. I don't know about you, but who knows?
I'm not there yet. But I guess for me, it would be like, there's some things I'll be warm to, and some things that would be like, that's not for me.
Depends on the game for me. I mean, again, I'm probably biased, but knowing that the team that made the Division, I know that they're working on a Star Wars game, that could be really cool. Like a Division style game in the Star Wars universe. I'll totally take that, because it's awesome.
That would be pretty good. Yeah,
that'd be very cool.
would fit into that kind of format, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the other cross-platform games. Anyway, we've got EA. It's probably the biggest one that I'm looking at, which is the new Dragon Age game. They've been teasing it on the internet for a while, so I think that's going to be a big hit up, because the last Dragon Age game that they put out won Game of the Year. which is no laughing matter, I guess. So we've got to pay attention to that because it's probably going to be a big one.
Yeah,
and I think EA know it as well, and I think people love this series and they do well with some good PR on this thing.
I really enjoyed Dragon Age Oranges.
Oranges.
It was a really good game for the most part. Again, it was the characters for me that did it rather than the storyline was fine right up until the end. I think they fumbled the ball over the last sort of yard.
Yeah, I think Inquisition, the one that won Game of the Year, was very much
was it Inquisition, not Origins?
No, Origins was it was on the Xbox 360, I think.
Oh, I'm getting my Dragon Age games confused.
Yeah, it was,
and then Inquisition.
Inquisition was like a launch title for the PS4 and the Xbox One, I think. So it was.
So it's about time for a new one then. Jeez.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's good time. And the only other thing from EA, which I really, really want to see, and I hope this prediction comes true, it's a half wild card, but if they could remaster or re-release or remake Dead Space trilogy, please, like, get this game out and I will play the hell out of it. And I think after the success of Mass Effect, I think EA are finally going to wake up to the prospect of making some damn remasters, because they were just completely against the idea. But now that Mass Effect Legendary Edition has done
Mass
so well,
Effect Legendary, that's the whole Twitterverse.
Right.
It's just it's people going in new, and it's people going in again, and it's all that people are talking about.
It's free money, man. It's free money, and it's great for preservation. It's good for people coming into the new new IP. Like right now, I am playing Mass Effect for the first time. If they didn't make them remasters, I probably wouldn't be playing it. I probably would never have gotten around to them. So it's good all around, and I think Dead Space is the next candidate for that, because it's such an amazing survival horror series. And
I've not played it.
You missed out, and a remaster would benefit because you would play it then.
I would play the remaster on the new console. Yeah. They had ray tracing and all that sort of jazz. Yeah.
It'd be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The first and the second game are absolutely outstanding. Still playable, I would say. If you ever pick up an Xbox and you get Game Pass, download them and play them. They're amazing. They're really good. So hopefully, if they could make a remaster of those, or even a remake, I doubt they'll ever remake it, but if they could remaster it, give it the Mass Effect Legendary Edition treatment, God, I would love that. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I can't believe I forgot about Dragon Age. I'll tell you what, I saw like a little trailer of Dragon Age because they've been working on it, and they were like, hey, here's some spells that we're working on.
Right, tech demos and stuff.
Demo, and I was like, wow, that's really underwhelming. This is supposed to be like next gen, and what they were showing was just like a really generic spell being cast, and it's like, it was still being in development, still being worked on. It's like, but for me, I was like, oh, okay, meh.
Yeah, that's them basically saying, hey, we're working on this game.
Yeah.
And people go and buy some stocks, please. That's what that means.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. See, look, we're doing spells, so it's being made. We're not just sitting on your money. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
So, out of all those, I think it would probably be, the Dragon Age one. But again,
I am looking forward to Battlefield, though. Really looking for. I'm a huge Battlefield player, so I'm really looking forward to see what they do with that. Don't really care where it's set. I just like shooting people in the face. I'll be honest.
You don't play COD though. But so Battlefield's your shooter of choice then.
Yeah, I think so. I think nowadays anyway. It used to be Call of Duty, but I've switched, I would say, to Battlefield. It's just a lot more. I don't know. It doesn't. It rewards teamwork over like arcadey Twitch shooting, like being really quick sort of thing. So I prefer teamwork based games. So to each their own though. Yeah, different flavors of game completely.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I haven't played a shooty game for any length of time for a long time, so I'm on the lookout for one. So yeah,
I did play Modern Warfare, the new one. I really enjoyed the campaign on that one. I thought it was one of the strongest Call of Duty campaigns they've done in a long time. Really enjoyed it, so I'd give that a look if you see it on sale.
Might have to do that then.
Yep.
Good stuff. So now, shall we talk about Nintendo?
Yes, we should.
I kind of forgot about Nintendo. So I did a first draft and was like, that's a lot. And then I forgot about Nintendo, and then I went all in on Nintendo, and then had to half the rest of my stuff. So this week has had a lot of work done on it. But to whiz through my Nintendo predictions for E3, I think we're going to have the Switch Pro console announcement. I think it's going to be 4K up-res all their old games. But I think it's only going to be 30 frames, 30 FPS. I think we're going to have a Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 announcement trailer. And I think that's it. That's all we're going to get. I think we're going to have a new Mario IP. So I don't think we're going to have a new Galaxy or a new Odyssey or a new Luigi's Mansion.
Okay, so not like a Mario Odyssey 2 or anything. You think?
No, it's going to be a new IP that's going to be announced, so like a whole new thing. And I don't think we're going to get Mario Kart 9. So those are my Nintendo predictions. Finn, what do you think about those?
No, they're good. I mean, I'd love to see a new Mario game. I think that'll be on the top of my list. Like, Odyssey was the best Mario game I've played in years. Like, I absolutely loved it. 10 out of 10 game. Really pleasantly surprised by that game. I thought it was just going to be another, like, sort of running off the back of what Mario 64 did. But no, I absolutely loved it. Love that game. So, yeah, more Mario the better. I think I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
But no Mario Kart. That's an interesting one. Do you think it's too early for that? Or
I just think it's too early.
It's been a while since Mario Kart 8, I think. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
It's only been like 2 years, isn't it?
I think, I don't know if Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game and they just ported it over. And they call it like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or whatever it is. Might have been. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not completely in the loop.
I don't even have a Nintendo, so this is
right. This is like outside looking in.
Yeah, outside looking in. This is what I think is going to happen. And I think I just watched a few videos, and a lot of people were saying no Mario Kart. So I was like, okay, I think I agree.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right though. Like for the most part, I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be that big push. I do think that it's probably going to be a bit bigger than just an
announcement trailer.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But if anyone's going to be disappointing anyone, it's going to be Nintendo disappointing people with Zelda.
Yeah, is that possible? God, you could give them a logo and Nintendo fans will be happy. Like
that's true.
So,
that's true.
Yeah, it's just the nature of Nintendo fans. Like they are. How can I put this nice?
Grateful.
Passionate. They're very passionate people.
Yeah.
They are very grateful. You're right. Yeah, you are. You are completely right though. They're very grateful for anything that they get, even if it is a logo, because the seal of quality for Nintendo sort of thing still carries for the most part for their first party titles. So
yeah,
anything that they do announce, it's probably going to be like 9 times out of 10, it's going to be good.
And there's so much buzz and hype for this game, and so much anticipation as well. So
yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I think that's going to go a long way. So that's what I think. Are you surprised about the Switch Pro prediction?
Nope.
No,
not at all. I've actually got it on my list.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on my list. Like that was the first point. I think Switch Pro is going to be that big push. Yeah, I think you're right with the 4K upscaling. I think it's going to be DLSS, which is the NVIDIA technology that they've got in the NVIDIA Shield, which I have as well, which is like an Android top set. Like you can upscale video and stuff like that. So it's only a matter of time before they push that for gameplay. And NVIDIA really need a platform to push that technology for their main graphics cards on the PC platforms. So I think the Shield is a good candidate, and if the Shield's a good candidate, then the Switch Pro is as well, because they use the exact same chipset, which it's just a matter of time before that happens. But I think you're right. I think the Switch Pro is going to get announced. I think it's going to be this holiday season, and I think that Nintendo are probably going to have the biggest E3 out of everyone else. I think they're going to come away with the most buzz of all 3 consoles, which is surprising considering the other 2 have just released new consoles. I think Nintendo are going to take it again because there's a lot of buzz coming around the Switch Pro for one. So yeah, I think that's their biggest announcement. Yeah. My second announcement, prediction anyway, was same as yours, Breath of the Wild 2. I think it's going to be a big push, massive blowout for that game. I think there's going to be gameplay. I think it's going to be out this year. I think it's going to be there. I think that's going to be, hey, you get a Nintendo Switch Pro and you can get Breath of the Wild 2 with it, or whatever it's going to be called, like Song of the Spirits. What? There you go. Yeah. Song of the Spirits. That's what it's going to be called.
Inhale of the Tame. Which is like the opposite of Breath of the Wild.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So I
think heard it here first on the Polygon Forest podcast.
Indeed. So I think that's going to be the game that they're going to push the Switch Pro for. I think that's what they're going to really push with. But I think you're right. Like all of their old games going to upscale to 4K as well.
Yeah.
Next prediction is going to be Metroid. is going to
Metroid.
make a comeback. I think they're only going to show a trailer just to say everything's okay, everything's cool. I know you haven't seen this game in 5 years, but please
bear with us.
be patient. Sort of thing. I think they're going to like give you a CG trailer just to say, hey, yeah, it's on the way, sort of thing. Persona 4 Golden, which was a PlayStation Vita exclusive, recently came out on PC. I think that's going to get announced for the Switch finally, and I think Persona fans are going to lose their minds over it. And
Okay.
Even though you're not a Persona fan, like you're going to be like, what the hell is happening here? Like, why the hell are they getting so excited about like a 6-year-old port? It's big news.
Okay.
It's going to be huge.
I'm looking forward to that then. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll leave my last one for wild cards because I do.
Okay. What do you think about some other Zelda IPs getting released, like digital, like HD versions, like Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess?
No, I don't think so. I think they sort of showed their hand with the Skyward Sword remake or remaster, which they're putting out. The fact that that game is by itself and it is $60 and it's a port pretty much is absolute scam. I think it's the biggest disservice they've done to Nintendo fans in a long time. And I don't see them just suddenly changing course on that anytime soon and just saying, hey, instead of us like giving you each of these Zelda games for $60 each, we're actually going to bundle them together and give you them in one package. We know that's what you want, so we're going to give you that. They're never going to do that.
They're never going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, as much as Nintendo are consumer friendly, quote unquote, like I use quotes because they're really not when it comes to their pricing format. I've never agreed with how they've sort of pulled money out of people. Like I just don't. I don't think they're very good with that. So I cannot see them. I cannot see them pushing a Zelda package again after because they did do that back in the day with the Nintendo GameCube. They had a collection which had like 9 Zelda games on it for the GameCube, and it was amazing. It's one of the best things they ever did. It was incredible. I just don't see them doing it again.
They probably lost a lot of money off that because they had everyone buying the one Zelda game.
That's fair. Yeah, that is fair.
Anything else?
And
Nintendo with their like entertainment per hour cost is way different to PlayStation and Xbox.
It's too high. I just do not buy that many Nintendo games, to be honest, because they're always full price. And I just don't like. Sometimes they're not really worth it, especially if you want to try them out. Like if a game is on sale or something, I'm much more inclined to be like, yeah, I don't know if I like this game, but I'll buy it for $40. But I'm not going to go out and pay full price for it. It's too much of a gamble sort of thing. So
yeah, we'll I remember when games were 40 quid and everyone lost their mind. Everyone's like, £40 for a game? Oh my god! And now they're on like a handhold, for £40.
They were the good days.
So those are some pretty. So you think Nintendo? So overall, then you think the biggest things is going to be Nintendo and was it PlayStation with the Horizon Forbidden West? Those are going to be like the biggest things.
I think the biggest buzz, not the biggest things, like what I think are going to be the biggest things personally. For me anyway, like the biggest thing that like I'm really looking forward to games like Dying Light 2. A lot of that game has been shown. I think that's coming out this year, so I think that blowout is going to come. I'm really excited about that. And then there's games like Horizon Forbidden West. That's going to be really big. But I think like the zeitgeist, like the actual people, like the things that are going to be trending on Twitter all day, Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
Switch Pro.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. They're going to be the big buzzwords, I think, more than anything. But if PlayStation announce a Game Pass thing, it's going to fly up there for a little bit, but it will drop off pretty quick.
Because I think they'll be vague about it as well. I don't think they're going to give all the details all in one go, and I think that they'll drip feed information about it. So I think they'll announce something, and then it'll be vague while their shareholders figure out how to deal with it, and then I think the details will get released later on.
I agree.
For me, the overall buzz is going to be Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, it's a big one, man.
Nintendo, if they do a Nintendo HD like Pro, I'll be well excited for that.
Unless going into that, I think like there are some other things which are my wild cards anyway. Which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes.
Which could completely eclipse all of this, and it'll be trending way higher than anything that Nintendo can do. So yeah, but you first, I guess.
Well, mine are pretty. Well, I've only got like three wild
I've got
cards.
2.
Okay. So my first wild card is that Game Pass from the Xbox will be coming to the Switch Pro, where everything that's on Xbox Game Pass you can play on the new Nintendo Switch Pro or Switch HD. Is that the same as what you've got?
It is on my list. Slightly
Okay.
different. I think they'll have their own Xbox marketplace because there's a lot of games that are on Game Pass which are already on Nintendo, and I don't think Nintendo want to mess with that. So I think they'll have their own sort of like non-Nintendo games only sort of thing.
Okay.
I think that'll be, but yeah, that was on my list as well. I think Game Pass is gonna, like the Game Pass app is gonna come to Nintendo.
Come to Nintendo.
Yeah, and it sounds wild, and a lot of people are like, yeah, that'd never happen. But it just makes a lot of damn sense.
Yeah.
It just makes way too much sense. There's a lot of games, even with a Switch Pro, would not be able to run on a Nintendo system. And Nintendo have got literally nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing. Like they experimented over the last couple of years, they had Assassin's Creed Odyssey streaming on their system, and they tried that out, worked great. They had Remedy's Control streaming on the system, worked out great. And they know it. And they know that like there's all these games that they could just suddenly have access to, take a nice cut from Xbox. Xbox are happy because they get more subscribers to their platform as well.
Because I might buy a PlayStation
win-win.
5 and then a Nintendo, and I don't, and I sign up to Game Pass, don't buy an Xbox.
Yep.
And what worst case scenario? I play, I play the new Halo on my TV in 4K up-res, 30 FPS, but I just kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
That just sounds awesome because Xbox gets money, PlayStation gets money, Nintendo gets money. Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy. I mean, this is the thing. Like, a lot of people need to get into this mindset of Xbox don't care about selling consoles. They sell them at a loss. So it's much more beneficial for them to sell you Game Pass. And like, it's actually way more profitable.
Not a console. They don't want to sell me a console. They want to sell me their games. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they need to sell consoles because that's the driver to get Game Pass into people's houses, but it's not anymore. And they've once they've realized that, and I think if Nintendo don't announce a Game Pass for their system, I can confidently say that like they definitely had that discussion. Yeah. They definitely got that offer from Microsoft, 100%, without a doubt, because it's just there's no world where that discussion wouldn't have happened because it's such a huge win for everyone involved. Like Nintendo fans would kill for some of these games that are sort of Nintendo-y, like that are on these systems as well. There's a lot of there's a load of games on Game Pass which are sort of kid friendly almost, and it would really fit that market as well. So it's fascinating. Like, that hasn't happened before.
Was
as wild as it is,
the Spyro Trilogy remaster, was that on Nintendo?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just having it on like higher fidelity and stuff like that under a subscription would be great as well. But I don't know. It's just like the more I think about this, the more it makes sense. And not from like a consumer standpoint, but just like financially as well. It just like there's no downside to this yet. I haven't seen anything that looks bad for Nintendo, because if Nintendo do want to remove Game Pass at any point, then they'll say, yeah, we're dropping the app. We're not including the app into our next system or whatever. And it's not really affecting Game Pass directly. Like in terms, there's nothing legally binding about that. It's just removing an app like they would remove like a YouTube app or a Netflix app or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just makes sense.
There'll be no. I mean, I've been quite up in the air with what I'm going to be purchasing, and I don't know if that happened. If it was going to be Game Pass on Nintendo HD or Nintendo Pro, there's no doubt I'd get that. They'd be like 100%. That's being got. I'm getting that. Yeah. That's a really good one. I'm really looking forward to that if that happens.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
My next wild card. It's kind of a wild card, but this is what's going to happen. So the lights will go down.
Okay.
And then Tom Cruise will walk out on stage.
I'm already liking this.
And then he will say a speech, and then he'll say, "You're breathtaking." And then he will announce that he's the main playable character in Starfield, and that it will be released in this holiday season.
I'll tell you what, that is wild. I'll give you that. That is definitely a wild card.
That, I don't think any of that's going to happen, but
no,
I would love it.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be really good. But saying that, I think you bring up a good point, though. I think there's a lot of companies out there that saw the reaction to Keanu Reeves coming out during the Cyberpunk sort of announcement reveals, or just a marketing campaign. I guess the game had been long announced at that point. But seeing that reaction and making a meme out of him and seeing all of this sort of stuff.
Free press, man.
Right. And I think it's worth almost like the upfront payment of getting a celebrity face into a game now. And I think a lot of people have realized that. And we're probably going to see a lot more of that now that you mention it. It's a good point to bring up, man.
Well, I mean, Stormzy was in a Watch Dogs Legion, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I really liked that aspect. Him being actually in the game, being a sort of a cameo. He played an alternative version of himself because it was sort of in the near future.
Yeah,
but that whole vibe and the whole fourth wall and everything, I really dug that. So I think there's a future for pop stars and film stars to be more included into video games.
Yeah, it's a great point. I don't think the Tom Cruise thing will happen with Starfield. That's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, but I think you're on something though. That's a good point.
And then my last one,
yeah,
is that there will be a standalone Splinter Cell game announced.
Oh, from Ubisoft.
From Ubisoft, yeah. And Sam Fisher will be recast, so I think it'll be a sort of a reboot. And it'll be, I think it could even be just it might just be a teaser and it might just be new generation exclusive.
Yeah. What if it was like David Hayter came out? You know, the guy that played Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
He came out and was like, I'm the new Sam Fisher.
Oh, no,
that would never. Oh, shit.
No, never, ever. No. That would be super wild card. It won't be him. It'll be someone younger. They'll want to
maybe Tom Cruise, right?
It'll be Tom Cruise. But I mean, Starfield. Oh, and I'm also this guy Sam from Splinter Cell. So yeah, that's my wild card.
A lot of people are asking for Splinter Cell right now. That's all I can say. But I have no idea, to be honest. Like I haven't heard anything internally or externally. So it's Ubisoft has a lot of studios, man. Like we could be working on a load of stuff. I have no idea.
I think that's great that there are those walls in place to stop, because then you get
I mean, it's good for me. It's good for me as well because I get to be excited about it, even though I can't talk about it too much. Like there's certain stuff that I've just got no clue about. Like Beyond Good and Evil 2 is not developed in our studio whatsoever, so I don't know anything about that game, like whatsoever. Division,
except what's been shown.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So we have some like marketing stuff come through our studio for the Division, but other than that, we don't see anything. We have no idea. So it's and I love them games. I think so. I'm all over them. But yeah, like as a fan, like it excites me. But yeah, there's plenty of games out there which I have no clue about. Even though we're the biggest studio in our company, it's not the end all be all. So it's good for me as well.
The title of this video now has to be Ubisoft concept artist excited about Splinter
his
Cell
own
reboot.
company's games. Yeah,
Splinter Cell reboot. Yeah. Prediction.
This like saying that, and I'm probably going to get some bricks thrown at me for this. Never really enjoyed the Splinter Cell series. Never really got into it. Same for Far Cry as well. Like I've never really played those games. And
you didn't have to say but either of those. You could have saved your credibility and not said those.
But that's how it goes though. Like you might work for a company, but you don't enjoy all of their games, especially like a company like Ubisoft.
Ubisoft,
so big.
Yeah, it's so big. There's so many IPs that there's got to be somewhere you like meh or like that was not a great game. Like the last. Was it Conspiracy where you played as like a Spec Ops person and Sam Fisher? It was like
Conviction.
Like, Conviction, like spies versus someone else. I mean, it had some great elements to it, but ultimately it wasn't.
I mean, it was a game of its time, I guess. Like the whole like the sort of stealth action adventure games. Like I'm not sure. Like if people went back to play the original Splinter Cell now,
would they enjoy it? Game. Yeah,
I'm not sure. Point. Like I really don't know. So I think it's sort of like in everyone's nostalgia. Like if they actually got that out and unpacked it and said, okay, here's a new version of that, would it be exciting? Like that's the real question.
It got more and more actiony, more and more shooty as the series went on. But I just remember like crawling around in the dark and looking at the light monitor going left and right, and then the person coming into the room, and then you're like, oh, I've got to find a bit more of a shadow, and like crawling into a dark space, and that being like so ahead of its time, and the crisp graphics of light in various shades was totally new. And the whole, there was no such thing as a covert light based sneaky shooty. It didn't exist, so it was just groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah, that's fun.
So yeah, you're right. I'm totally nostalgic for that, and that's my wild card where I think that would get my buzz totally going. And
Awesome.
If you've been holding out on me and you've been drawing Sam Fisher for the last 5 years,
No, I mean I do work for I'm working on like a Tom Clancy stuff, so it's very much in the same sort of universe, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like I'm not working on Splinter Cell right now. I can't confirm that.
oh, okay.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm just wrecking dreams right now.
Oh, you could have just, yeah, I'd have preferred it if you'd have lied to me then, Vin, and just said, well, you'll have to wait and see.
Right,
At least I would
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe the next game I'm working on is.
Because,
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Leave that dangling there. What's your wild cards then, apart from the...
I've only got one left after the I think Game Pass on Switch is the big one. I think that would be the big sort of showstopper. And I think Nintendo would get to announce that. I don't think that would be at the Xbox conference. I think Nintendo would want all of that glory, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
So if it does get shown, it'll be at the Nintendo press conference. My only other wild card is along similar lines. And I have been saying this for years, and I'm going to keep saying it until they do it. I think that there is going to be a new app on the Xbox console. That new app is going to be Steam.
Ah, yeah.
And you can download Steam games natively to your Xbox Series X. The architecture is there. The relationship is there between Microsoft and Valve. I think it could be doable. And if they did it, they would win the console generation and everyone would lose their minds. I think it would allow Steam to finally fulfill their sort of Steam machine sort of vision, which they had a few years ago, which was like these small PCs that you could buy, which were in like a console format. And a load of different companies made them, but they never really took off and never really had any success. But if they could allow Steam natively to be downloaded to the Xbox Series X, I think that would be huge. And I think they could totally do it. So
that would be crazy as well. And that fitting into the VR space, they could win the console wars off the back of VR.
This is the thing. Yeah.
If everyone got VR headsets, they're going to want to play Steam games.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have a PC, you can still play PC quality Steam games. If you've got an Xbox and a VR headset, that would be, yeah. If that was released, I would have to rethink what I would be buying again.
Yeah, right. And I think that would be a huge swing, and I think Xbox could really benefit from a move like that because you're basically you're making a whole like third of the industry, which is the PC gamers, just like look to the right all at once, and they're like, "Yo, I want that thing now," because like why wouldn't I want a Steam machine on my TV where I can just play on a controller instead of like being sat at my desk all day and things like that, because there are a lot of people out there that just do not like playing PC games at a desk, because there's people like me, especially during a global pandemic when all you're doing all day is sat at a desk. The last thing you want to do is play video games at a desk.
That same desk. I'm totally there. And
so I think they've learned that, and the
timing is right with all the pandemic stuff. And especially everyone's got parts fatigue where they can't get updated parts for games that are coming out. That if the Xbox becomes available, and from what I've heard, it's more available than the PlayStation, but that's because more people are buying PlayStation than Xbox. But so there's room for Xbox to, sell more boxes. Yeah. If that could be compatible, if I could turn on my Xbox and then turn on my VR headset and play 120 hertz through my Xbox and not worry about my PC.
It's like you just said, like it sort of brings in a whole new platform as well for Xbox, because like right now they've got no initiative into the VR space whatsoever. None. Like they're not planning a headset. They've not talked about one. If they do announce one, that'd be cool at E3, I guess. But I think it just adds more competition to the market. But if they added Steam support and it's like, you can plug in your VR headset into an Xbox Series X and play VR games.
Wow.
Like, why not? Why not be able to plug in an Oculus headset into...
Maybe this should be the title of the episode. What's going to be the title of the episode, Vin? There's so many things to choose from.
I don't know. It'll be interesting when we split this up into clips,
to see what does well. See what you guys want to listen to most. But wow, that is like, my mind's you just blown my mind, Vin.
Yeah, I think that would be a huge move for Microsoft more than anything, because like when they came out, like I think it was their first E3 after the Xbox One came out, and Phil Spencer took over, like his first big announcement was backwards compatibility. And he just dropped it, and it was just like scrolling, like covers going by, and it's like, yeah, we're bringing all these games to the Xbox One. And everyone was like, this is insane. Where the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
I think this could be that big sort of bombshell to really get people into the Xbox ecosystem, especially Game Pass and things like that. Like you buy Game Pass, you can turn on your Steam account, which has already got 200 games in it from all the freaking sales that you've been buying off over the years.
And you can play it
just
on
games,
your TV.
games. Yeah. Be amazing.
That would
and why
be...
it's no skin off their back, because they want people to buy Game Pass. They don't want people to just buy games individually anymore. Like they don't really care. That's not really their market anymore that they're going to be going after long term. Obviously, they still make profit out of that, but their major push will be to just get people into the Xbox ecosystem. And this would be a great way of doing it.
That would be so crazy. And if that all happened at the same time with Nintendo releasing a thing, this is like the beginning of like when Xbox came out. This is like huge monumental seismic shift.
And Xbox need that momentum. And I think they're not scared. I think they're prepared to do this sort of stuff. You know, I think they're just calling people up like, yo, can we do this?
Can we buy
we want to do this.
Yeah. How much? How much?
This is the best thing about it. Like you just said, like they don't have to buy anyone for this stuff though. Because it's very much partnership stuff. It's like you win out of this as well. Like more people will buy Steam games and they'll just be using our console to do it. So we're gaining users onto our platform that can finally get introduced to Game Pass. So it's good for us because they've got no way of tapping into the Steam users at the moment.
Yeah.
Like they just can't penetrate them. Sorry for the word, but they can't like get into that sort of ecosystem.
Not without permission.
Not without permission. They've got to ask politely. And I think this is just a great way of doing it. And the same for the Nintendo thing. No one's losing anything and everyone's just gaining stuff.
It's bringing more content, more games to everyone that wants them, and money's going into the right places. And this could be huge for the indie market as well, because that could...
Massive. Wow. There's a lot of indie games that don't come to console that do really well on Steam.
If Xbox's money starts pushing some Steam games, if some marketing money goes down... I mean, initially they'll probably want to keep things quite separate if it does happen, but...
Yeah. But I think like going back to like the Steam Machine sort of initiative, which they had a few years ago, when they first started that, they didn't really have that much controller support like for their games either. It was still very much like mouse and keyboard was most of their games. And there was a lot of like, while they were releasing them sort of console sized PCs, they were constantly like having to update games or like create initiatives for companies to actually go in and recode like controller options for them games. But now that work is already done. Like that work is done now. Like there's so many games on Steam that you can play with a controller that it's just there. The functionality is there. It's ready to go. Like there's just no reason why they wouldn't do this. Like controller only games on an Xbox Series X from Steam would be amazing. And there's nothing really stopping them from doing it.
That is blowing my mind. I'm so looking forward to that if that happens.
That'd be great. It's a wild card.
It's a wild
card.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's out there, but you've raised a good point in that there's nothing really stopping them, because whenever we hear about cross-platform this, cross-platform that, it's always but PlayStation aren't going to make any money out of it because there's nothing stopping people buying PlayStations and buying PlayStation games and playing PlayStation things on PlayStations. Yeah, but this way it's kind of win-win.
Yeah, I don't think they would just open the whole Steam market place up to Xbox users, because obviously there's PlayStation games on there and there's other like there's other games which probably shouldn't belong on an Xbox console for exclusivity reasons or whatever, and vice versa.
Keyboard and mouse games aren't going to work.
Stuff like that, yeah. Like so, I think there would be it'll be
slim amount.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a Steam game right now, it'll say, is it controller compatible? Is it mouse and keyboard? Does it do your system specs? They'll just add another one which will say Series X compatible, and that'll be it. And if it is, then it shows up on the marketplace. If it doesn't,
and if it doesn't, it won't.
It's just that simple. So yeah, I think if
that happens cool. with the Game Pass coming onto the Nintendo,
I would happily lose my mind.
I don't know what I would do. That would just be crazy. But
you would buy an Xbox Series X. That's what you would do.
I would buy an Xbox Series X, and I would buy the thingy, and I'd buy the Nintendo HD, and then I would have to buy a PlayStation for Horizon.
For Horizon.
Forbidden West, so I would buy everything. I mean, I probably would buy anything anyway, but
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually, it's just
order.
when and how it's going to happen. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm on a buzz now.
I think that wraps it up pretty nicely, actually.
Yeah. It's been a tough week this weekend, but that has put me in the right mood. I'm really looking forward to next month now. Indeed. And you know what's going to be happening now? I'm going to get an email Monday morning, and they'll be like, oh, we're going to exchange contracts X day, and then we're going to do a moving day this day, and it'll be slap bang in the middle of E3, and I'll be like...
Don't do that.
No.
No, you'll be all right. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. But, it's going to be... it's on a weekend anyway.
First world problems. So.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, we'll probably be, for our listeners anyway, we'll probably be announcing what we're going to be doing for E3 anyway pretty soon. I'm pretty sure we're going to be either doing some recording, some reaction stuff, or might even be live streaming. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure all the nitty-gritty out. It mainly depends on Mr. Christopher Jarvis here and if he's in his moving situation, because he has just been approved for a house. God damn him. Enjoy your debt, sir. So we'll figure it out as we go. But yeah.
Yes, we'll do something. So stay tuned and we'll let you know when we know more. But yes, what did you think of the episode? Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Anything that we glaringly missed out? There's a massive hole in our blinkers that we've not seen.
What are you guys looking forward to? That's what I want to know. I'm really curious to see, because like I said, this is all subjective. We're all in our own little bubbles here. So it'll be interesting to see what other people think. It's
interesting we had a lot of overlap, I think, as well.
Yeah, but, I think there's going to be some big hitting things we need. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. One thing I did want to do, I wanted to give a shout out to someone that commented on one of our videos last week, which we made a mistake. Well, I made a mistake and I need to correct it. So a guy called Khalid, he mentioned that there was 23 Microsoft studios, not 26, like I mistakenly said. So thank you for the correction. If you had any mistakes on this episode as well, then please let us know in the comments as well, and we'll happily give you the shout out, and we'll thank you for it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So that actually means that there's less than we thought. We did the maths, didn't we? So less per year. So that's less than 2 per year of new IPs.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there's still studios with multiple teams, so it'll probably make up the numbers somewhere. I think. God knows. We'll see though. There's a lot of games coming from both of the platforms. So. And
this is the thing. Next month, no one's going to be talking about this next month because there'll be all these new things to talk about.
It's always fun to do predictions, though. It's always fun.
Yes. So yes, thank you for that, and let us know if we make any more mistakes. And so like, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you want us to see what we're going to be talking about next week and next month when we're doing something in the realm of E3 that's going to be exciting, I'm sure.
Hell yeah.
But until then, take care.
Bye-bye.